All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is a run-on, or a continuation, so part 2 of 2 parts that we have done today. So if you're just catching this, then you probably either just clicked on this for the first time, and if so, this is part 2. So if you want to see the beginning of 2 parts, just exit out however you do it. Sorry, I'm new to all that aspect of it. And just look at the previous video, and you'll get where we are coming from, right?
Right.
So part 2 of show number 42. So we had left off talking about Del Potro and Nadal's match. Awesome match. Again, I'm not going to get back into that because if you just watched it, we just finished talking about that. So the next match is the last semifinal of today, and that was Isner versus Radek. So do you want to start on this one, or
I actually heard this match on the radio. I was not at home. I was not able to watch this match, but I heard it on the radio, and my son Christopher was rooting for Isner because he had Isner in his team. Honestly, from the beginning of this match, I told my son, Radek's going to win this match. Isner has no chance. Wow. Aren't we all shocked that he won?
Well, not for me, not really. I mean,
You're not shocked?
I wouldn't say my adjective would be shocked.
Radek's a tough cookie on grass court.
I think I would be more like pleasantly surprised, saying it just like that. I'm pleasantly surprised.
I didn't think Isner was going to get this far at Wimbledon. I mean, he wasn't even in my radar. I didn't even think about him. I thought about Query before I thought about him. I thought about
totally agree.
Tiafoe before Isner, honestly, this time.
I can agree with that, too. I agree with that.
I mean, I'm very happy for Isner. Go USA. I really am. I was watching the score and listening to the radio. Isner lost the first set, did he not?
The score was, to be exact, 6-7. So, yes, he lost the first set. 7-6, 6-4, 6-3.
Yeah, when he lost that first set, I figured they must be on serve, and the tiebreaker is basically whoever holds serve. You know, just like you said, these are 2 big servers.
Indeed.
I didn't get to watch the match, but I saw the second set that Isner won. So I figured, okay, he's got a chance. He might have a chance. I saw a lot of points going back and forth. There was a lot of break points and going back to deuce. Like I said, I didn't get to watch much of the match. I just listened to it, which is a bit different from watching it.
So, I agree with 50% of what Carla has indicated. I agree with
I said, I didn't see it. So.
And this is objective, obviously. I mean, my opinion, her opinion, entitled to both. Her Nadal and then me Federer, and now kind of the combination of the two. So there's a lot of things over a lot of years that we have disagreed about in the same sport that we both compete against one another in, and that we teach our children to compete against. So we're pretty competitive. So I'm not going to like sugarcoat an answer. If I don't like it, then I'm gonna tell you I don't like it.
I mean, we even disagree on coaching style sometimes, so
yeah,
that's
so
okay.
I mean,
part of it.
That's part of the struggle.
Right.
I mean, that's how you kind of mix yin and yang and all that stuff. Right? It's like gelatin and it just kind of just.
That's
roll.
where we have different type of players in the world. Not everybody plays the same. Hopefully.
Right. So going back to the Isner Radek match, I'm not shocked that. Look, I thought Radek would win. I thought Radek would probably win in 4 or 5 sets because, again, she said it right. They're both big servers. I've talked about this for the past month. I looked today. We did our first episode, by the way. I think it was like June 13th, and it's July 11th. So it's almost a month we've been doing this. So another job well done on that one. So for me, and I said this yesterday, that it's a big server battle. You could take out, for me, you could take out Isner, or you could take out Radek, or you could pop in Karlovic, and you could pop out Isner or Radek and pop in Anderson. You can pop out you see what I'm getting at? I mean, I don't see one player, any of those big servers, even the Anderson that we talked about earlier, I don't see Anderson being any better or worse than Isner. I don't see Radek being any better or worse than either or if he's healthy. Radek has had some health issues for a long time, and I hope those get well for Radek, obviously. So I picked Isner to win this match on our fantasy team.
Yeah, you're right. I remember you mentioning that he was hurt. Not Isner, but Radek was hurt, and he wasn't going to be the same.
Well, he's been through some grinding injuries, just like Murray, and just like name them. The thousands of tennis players go through injuries, but I felt like on paper for our fantasy league to try to get extra points because I've gotten destroyed this year. Update on that: she's been killing me this year, so I won 4 straight. She's definitely beat me this one. So she got me on that one. I concede. So I didn't bring that up. I concede. Nice match. She won her first Wimbledon in, I think, 5 years against me.
But I'm not winning in the league. I think Milo is still ahead of me. I'm not sure.
Personal battle, she wins the first one. I knew it would be the prototypical big serving battle. Just like the next match is going to be between Anderson and Isner. So what I saw today will probably be about the same as we will see between Anderson and Isner. So therefore, I agree with you. I'm excited Isner won. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not like, I'm pleasantly surprised because when I see a match like this, I tend to think they're rather routine. It's the same old same, the big serve, going for it on the second half of the time, blistering serve, someone chips return, and they run around inside out and blast a forehand.
But shouldn't you have a big serve in tennis?
Well, yeah, you should. But
wait, why should we be working a lot harder? Don't a lot of us wish we had a huge serve that we can capitalize on and finish the points like that, and our bodies, would keep up much longer?
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you have 2 big servers matching up most of the time, unless someone's ground strokes on their 1-2 punch shot is really off, generally you're going to have 7-5, 6-4, 6-7, 7-6, 6-4, 6-4, and if someone maybe holds and then consolidates right off, you'll have a 6-3 and still be tight. So it'll be 6-7, 6-6.
But that's how tennis should be. Well, I mean, you should hold your serve.
Well, yes. All I'm getting at is it doesn't make for very exciting, shocking news. Is all I'm saying.
But I guess I am shocked that Isner made it this far into Wimbledon. I honestly expected him to lose in the first week. That's my most shocking part. I guess that's the most shocking part to me.
Okay.
And I'm sure that, I'll use your word, surprised that he's even at the semifinal. Last year we had Query in the quarters, right? So this would be the first time we have an American man in the semis. It's been a long time, right?
Yeah. And that's another good fact. I actually thought of it. We're on the same brainwave. She was going with the kids today, dentist appointments and so forth. So I stayed here, wrote the show, and watched the little guy. So the thought she just had was yes. I actually wrote this stuff down.
Okay.
That's pretty cool, actually. A serendipity strike. Actually, let's wait on that because I have that. Remember that topic: American men in the semifinals at Wimbledon. Okay, just Wimbledon. Remember that topic. Don't let me forget. I have it, but it's like sketched just in between a bunch of stuff. All right. Remember, that's great though. That's awesome, actually. So look, the Isner win over Radek. I'm very happy and excited for Isner, and like she just mentioned, totally cool that you just said that. That this is a rare commodity for American men's tennis. In a very long time. There's been 1 or 2, and we're going to discuss that. I'm rooting for Isner, though. With Federer out, this just serves up another serving battle with Anderson. So, look, Isner, I'm absolutely ecstatic for you, and I am shocked that, yes, you are still in it, but I'm not shocked that he beat Radek. That's all I'm saying.
I'm rooting for Isner, too.
Yeah, so,
all the way.
Yeah, so I think the context is imperative. I am not shocked that Isner beat Radek. That's it. But I am shocked, as you described it, so I think I had the context of your shock. I'm shocked that, yes, he's still in the tournament. I'm not shocked that he beat Radek, because it's one of the same, and he's got a one-up on him because of his health. So
usually this is not Isner's best tournament. If you look back at his record, he doesn't really make it far at Wimbledon.
Yeah. So I guess it's just hard for me to get super excited about 2 big servers meeting up, I guess from a spectator perspective.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to get through, but if your serve's off, and you're only serving it like 55, 53%. So, I mean, if I watch a match with a big server and he's serving it like 50% first serve percentage, I can't quite seem to find his range. You pretty much know who's going to win, so you turn the channel and you already know.
So you're going to have basically 2 grinders, which is Djokovic.
You have Djokovic and Nadal in the semi.
And the 2 big servers.
Yeah, and you'll have Isner and Radek. So I mean, not Isner and Radek, but Isner and Anderson. So, yeah, you're going to have a brutal serve fest, and then you're going to have 2 people really emptying the gas tank, I would assume, and then you'll have 1 big server meeting another one of those gas burners.
And that should be a good match.
So it should be a good match. However, again, the only thing that brings down 2 gas burners not meeting in a final from a spectator standpoint is you don't get too many of the turn and burner points because the tall one is generally sitting and waylaying. Waylang, serve, blam, Waylang, boom. He's not running too much. He's not. Del Potro moves a lot, but he got fatigued running. Del Potro's another tall one, but Del Potro does a better job of covering court.
He has better movement.
Better movement, and he's prone to injury too. So the bigger guys, they tend to break down a little bit. They get tired or faster, or more tired fastly. And as they get tired, the body or the legs, I find that the serve is the absolute weapon. And if that is off, then the gas burner is going to get set up quicker and is going to go through them generally. So I would think that whoever wins the semifinal between Isner and Anderson will give either one of the two, Djokovic or Nadal, a very similar match. And I think whoever faces Djokovic or Nadal will lose to whoever. So I think whoever wins between Djokovic and Nadal will win the tournament.
I agree with you 100% on that one.
So,
because they both know how to play those type of players. They both know how to break them down, even though they might have blistering serves.
Yeah, and let's be real. They're two of the best returners in the game. And I think a couple of years ago, if not sooner than that, Djokovic was labeled as the best returner in the game.
Yes, he is.
So here's a rundown on exactly what you just mentioned. That was coincidental because I looked up the same information and she wasn't even here and we did not discuss this stuff. So the men's semifinals features John Isner, which is from which I remember, and I looked up just to make sure. Isner in the semifinals tomorrow is the first American tennis player, male, that has been at a Wimbledon semifinal since in 2009, where Andy Roddick lost in 5 sets to Federer. You remember watching that?
I hated that. I really wanted Roddick to win that one. That's when I wasn't such a big Federer fan. I wanted Roddick to win this. I thought, oh man, this is his second chance at another Grand Slam.
So
and he lost.
So we are, and especially myself, are hard on U.S. men's tennis. And I haven't really, in the past 41 videos, or 42 at this point, come up with a real good concrete fact to help me, I guess, relay the context of my, mixed emotions about where we're heading in the U.S. in terms of what we're doing in tennis. The last semifinals of Wimbledon was 2009, John Isner. Now, before that, I went in so far as looking up that. Well, actually, I have to correct that. I looked up the Isner stuff. And my dad, at 80 years young, my phone's recording, I'll show you the text. But my dad called out that he was fairly certain it was Radek in 09. But I found out that Todd Martin and Malavia Washington.
I told you about that yesterday. I told you about that yesterday.
Indeed, she did. So Malavia Washington and Todd Martin met in the 1996 Wimbledon semifinal, where Malavia Washington won easily, 6-3, 6-4, 6-3. Then Malavia Washington lost to Krajicek in the final. And here's another fun fact. The last time a college tennis player was in Wimbledon, or the semifinal, was that same match between Todd Martin and Malavia Washington. Malavia Washington played college tennis in Michigan, and Todd Martin played college tennis at Northwestern. John Isner goes to Georgia. Now check this, or went to Georgia. Now check this one out. We have another college player and college player facing each other. Kevin Anderson, the South African, played college tennis at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.
I didn't know that, which makes sense why his wife is from Chicago. Okay. That's a good
Let's go! Research! Hey, Vlad, you gotta like that one, Vlad. I did that one for you, Vlad, and my dad helped me. So, we're gonna call that a group effort. And then she brought up Malavia yesterday with Todd Martin.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that. That how bummed he must have been to have lost that semifinal.
Yeah, I honestly,
when he should have won it.
I didn't recall it. I was looking up the information, and I saw Malavia Washington's total career record, and it was like 27-40. Why was his career so short? Did he get injured? We got out of shape? I wonder what happened there. Maybe that's a good question. Maybe none of you watching have even ever heard of Todd Martin. Maybe some of you heard of him, or Malavia Washington. Both special players that Martin was around for years, and as I recall, Malavia's career was very, 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 very short. So, again, I think I saw his match record being in double digits on both sides. So, 40-80 or 20-60. You see what I mean?
I don't remember why he retired so early. I don't even remember him retiring.
I don't either.
I remember him when I was training as a junior, but
So pretty cool information, though, right?
Yes.
It's kind of interesting how things culminate. You know, like we were talking about luck on 7-Eleven, and we have the divers go in, and unfortunately they rescue a guy, and they get all the kids out in this dramatic fashion, and we see all this intense gear, and then all of a sudden the pumps fail, right? So everything gets out. I call that like destiny, right? So then we have all this stuff going on where you're yesterday talking about Malavea, Washington, and Todd Martin. I'm kind of not even thinking about it. Vlad in Serbia is talking about the Italian person that we were just talking about. Then I look up a college player, and then she comes out with, oh, well, that's why Kevin Anderson's wife is from Illinois.
Yes,
so it's kind of interesting how everything kind of circles together, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's pretty deep. So, hey, awesome, right?
Yeah. And good luck to Isner. Hopefully he makes his first Wimbledon final.
Amazing.
First final, right? First Grand Slam final if he makes it.
Exactly. So amazing how things happen. So the semis are set, Anderson against Isner. And that match, I just have to go with... look, I hope Isner wins. I think if I had to bet my house on it, I'm not betting my house, obviously. 5 kids, I don't bet on anything. I would, on paper, pick Anderson.
So would I.
If I bet
As a matter of fact, when I do my pick tonight, it will be Anderson.
So, yeah, I'm picking Anderson on paper type thing. But in my desperation of the depths of my aspirations for U.S. tennis, I hope before Friday is done, that Isner gets a win. But I don't think it will happen. Djokovic, Nadal, again, I still am suspect on Djokovic is 100% middle and physical fitness. I think Nadal goes to the finals, and at this point, I think Nadal actually wins the tournament.
I picked Nadal to win the tournament, and I think you looked at me like I was crazy when I did it.
He looks tough, and then
he looked at me like, "Are you serious?" He didn't even play grass. He lost at a exhibition thing, and I said, "When you win the French Open, you need that big break." I mean, Jennifer Grapati would prove it. She could not play. She would win the French Open and then play Wimbledon. It was tough for her to do well there. You have to take a break. Have to.
Yeah, I definitely did second guess your thoughts of picking Nadal for this tournament. I honestly thought that he would probably lose before even the first week was over, and that's why I did not pick him in my draw at all, and that's why I picked up Dimitrov in that section of that draw. And I think after having seen this early exit for Dimitrov, we won't get into that, we touched on that a long time ago, that I will continue to pick Nadal. All right, so
how can you bet against him?
You can't. Not at this point.
Plus, not only that, Nadal has a special place in my heart. Like I said, I share Federer's birthday, and my brother shares Nadal's birthday. They have the same day.
Yeah.
So those two players have something special for us. That's my family.
So she has the same birthday as Roger Federer, and his brother has the same.
My brother.
Yeah, her brother has the same birthday as Nadal. Call that another weird how it comes together type deal. Okay, anyway.
And he's a tennis player as well.
Yeah,
and much better than me.
He's a really good player. He's a real good player. I will take on that action once you finally migrate down here from Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I'll take on that action, though. All right, we'll see how that goes. I won't count my chickens on that one. So, women's semifinals tomorrow. We talked about this on yesterday's show. There wasn't any women's action today, so I'm not going to dwell on that because we'll just have a redundant conversation. Your time will again be used for not really any good reason except we enjoy doing this, right? So We'll save you the time. If you want to see all the women's breakdown of the semis, just check out yesterday's, but I will run down them again. Ostapenko and Kerber. She said she took
Kerber. She's on my my bracket. So why wouldn't I pick her?
Yeah, and I'm going to take Ostapenko. And again, we discussed this at length. I feel like what I've seen from her. I think she's going to do it, but good match either way.
I'm going to watch both matches tomorrow, actually.
Lastly, the Serena and Goerges. And look, I really have to tip my hat to both girls here. This girl, Goerges, I read an article where when she won, and I think this is how it went down, I may have this wrong, but when she won, she gracefully went over to her opponent and said something like, "I'm very sorry, I beat you today." And then her opponent, which I guess they are good in the locker room or friends or something, indicated back that you deserve this, you worked really hard. And
that's rare to see in women's tennis.
It's rare.
Rare
usually it's the dull handshake. So I wanted to mention that because I think on a couple videos I indicated to, or talking about women's tennis, where I indicate, Goerges, I'm really shocked she's even here. I won't discuss her further from a tennis perspective. because I didn't think she would make it. And then to read this article that not only did she make it, but to again exemplify this type of sportsmanship as Nadal and Del Potro did today, I think is awesome. So, I mean, great job.
Awesome, yes.
Sportsmanship is really key. So, Goerges, a lot of respect for you for being here. I think Serena, though, cruises through this match relatively easily.
Agree.
All right, so that's basically the end of the men's stuff. Just real quick, and this may end up being a few minutes, but we have been tossing around ideas for an after Wimbledon show. And again, we started here with a grass court season update daily, men's and women's. I think there was like 4 or 5 tournaments, 6 in total. I think maybe 7. And then we would culminate with Wimbledon. So everything grass, who we picked, who were the dark horses, who was not, who would we have win, who would we put on a fantasy team, and we're almost at the end of that. So we want to do a run-up for the U.S. Open, the hard court series. In other words, I think there's 10 tournaments in the United States that culminate a U.S. Open series, but I think a lot of those tournaments, as we get into them, are relatively small. I think there's one in Atlanta. I think that's not too far away, and I wrote them down. So all I'm trying to find out is if you have any ideas how we can cover the vast majority of hard court tournaments that are going to be coming up without doing it the wrong way, I guess you could say. Let us know. So here's what I'm kind of getting at. Is Wimbledon ends Sunday. We have immediately coming up Newport, Rhode Island. This is next week. Newport, Rhode Island, grass surface. So if I say grass or clay, that's the surface. Newport, Rhode Island, grass, starting next week. UMAG, Croatia, clay, starts next week. Bastad, Sweden, clay, starts next week. So we can cover it, yes, but the surfaces don't even match up to our whole model of what we've been doing. So if I'm doing a run-up to hard court season and it culminates with the U.S. Open, why am I still doing grass? Maybe it's best if I just pick maybe some players that go, but I've looked at some of the acceptance. The draws weren't out, but I looked at some of the people that expected to go to these tournaments, and some of the number 1 seeds weren't even seeded at Wimbledon, is all I'm saying. So I don't think it's right to not cover matches, but I think with 3 tournaments next week, none of which would be, in my opinion, maybe a major contender or maybe not even a dark horse for the U.S. Open, should we cover them? Should we?
I don't think so. I mean, we can mention them and maybe do some subjects that we were thinking about, but I don't even agree with that. But I guess you have to have these type of tournaments for players to get points and try to get into the U.S. Open.
Well, I mean, I get why the players. That has nothing. I'm talking about for.
I mean, I would mention if somebody.
So, yeah, I mean, if you have any ideas
that we know.
So, yeah, we've had. I think it was Vlad in Serbia. Hey, do a show where you do player research. Like, pick a player, research the player. Where are they from? Where do they train? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Pick one maybe that's a contender in these tournaments. So I like that idea. I'm feeling at this point, and this is just tentative, that we'll do the hard court tournament. So in other words, I mean, I might write down some notable drama or an injury or something from Newport on grass. I might write down something that big may have happened in Croatia or Sweden. But because of the surfaces not being hard court, I think I'll cover fully the Atlanta. And Atlanta, I think, is just a 250. And Atlanta's next.
Isner usually plays that.
Yeah, Isner is usually the favorite there, and all the guys like Sock. And I think because all those guys show up, then we need to cover that fully.
Definitely. You'll have a lot of your American tennis there.
Yeah, so we're going to cover Atlanta, even though it's a 250, because the guys in the U.S. tend to turn up to their best stuff at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
And I definitely want to cover U.S. tennis on hard courts, all the tournaments. So with that said, next week, men's is Newport, Rhode Island, grass. UMAG, Croatia, clay. Bastad, Sweden, clay. I'll cover, or will cover, notable stuff, injuries, drama, the hypothetical.
Any tennis related.
Yeah,
news.
the hypothetical Wawrinka and Vekic teammate play mixed doubles or something. The fun stuff, I guess. Then the following week, so not next week, but the following week, so not the week after Wimbledon, the week after that, we have Hamburg, which is a 500, and I think you said the top seed there was like famous. What did you say, Ramos Vinola or something? It was like the
last year, yes.
Last year. So, it's clay, though. So, again, big seeds, big players, drama there, I think I'll do. But that same week, the week after next, is Atlanta. And that's hardcore. I think it's...
I'd rather do the hardcore because, well, the next Grand Slam is the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And you should be playing in hardcore to prepare for it.
Yeah. So, the last tournament, which is the week after this week finishes, week after next, is Gstaad, and that's clay. So the next 6 tournaments in the next 2 weeks for men's after Wimbledon is Newport, Croatia, Sweden, Hamburg, Atlanta, Gstaad. Atlanta's hard court the week after next, so we'll definitely hit that one hard. And then highlights maybe a couple of weeks during next week for Newport, UMag, and Gstaad.
Okay.
If that's cool, let us know. And if it's not cool and you want me to do something different, then we would definitely attempt to do so. So, definitely want to keep the women on the agenda too. So I did the women's research too. The women hardly ever get Grand Slam hardly ever get coverage outside of Grand Slams, and if they do, it's kind of second in line. So I want to keep women on the map, obviously, during this same time. So next week's women's tournaments are Bucharest, which is in Romania, and then Gstaad, which is in Switzerland. Both of those are on clay.
Maybe Halep will play the one in Romania.
Yeah, I'm sure Halep will play there, and that's a great call there. I didn't think about that. And maybe, was it Van Uytvanck? Was there another one? Or she was from Belgium,
She's
wasn't
from
she?
Belgium, though.
There was another Romanian girl, I forgot.
Buzărescu.
Buzărescu. That's knowledge right there. Yes. Good call. Buzărescu. So maybe, those players from there, and then the Switzerland tournament clay, and maybe drama from there. The week following that is a fairly big tournament for the women. I think it's a 750, and it's in Russia, but it's on clay. So the week after next, there is a smaller tournament that's in Nanking, China, and it's on hard.
Okay.
So I think because of like Zhang and a lot of these other Chinese girls that have been doing really well for a long time, I mean, Li Na was from there, I think maybe we can follow that one because indeed it is on hard court, and I'm sure some of the players will want to get on the hard, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So anyway, that culminates everything from today. I think I'm drenched in sweat, and I know that we've had a very long day. Started early, and it's going to end late. So we will talk to you tomorrow with the results of the women's semifinals. Isn't that tomorrow?
Yes, that's tomorrow.
And I was just thinking aloud about how to go forward with this endeavor. So comment below. And again, I've had requests to do some different things, and we will toss that around. So anyway, thanks as always. It's much appreciated. We have a good time, and I know Carla has a real good time doing it as well. So click a like below, subscribe below, and as always, this very pretty young, hardworking mother of 5 that I'm very lucky to have says,
Thanks. Adios.
see you later.